have a list that's not in order of a few things that I want to make sure happen over the course of the book.
Plotter, pantser, plotter. I definitely am like a super plotter. Like I break down beat by beat, and almost scene by scene. Although the last book, the third book in this series, the one that I just wrote, I just finished it a couple months ago, like a month and a half ago. I was like looking at my beat. Okay, I just had a baby, and so I was delirious. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I was trying to wake up before the baby woke up so I could get some work done type of thing, and that's how I worked. That's how I wrote the third book in this series, was waking up at 4 a.m. Oh, after feeding her like 3 times at night, so waking up like every 2 hours anyway. So I was like, dang, 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 dang. I was looking at my outline, and you know, very detailed about what the coven's doing, where they're going, and I was like, well, who's showing them all of this? And I was like, oh, I left out a whole character. I gotta write this character like this. Like it doesn't just happen to them. Like somebody's got to tell them this stuff. And so that was the only time that I have ever just, because people tell me like they've discovered characters, and I'm like, how can you just discover? It happened to me. It happened to me. So I am like a super plotter, but that doesn't mean that you don't still discover stuff as you go.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to find something. Sometimes you find an entire, very important character that's going to bring you through the whole book. But yeah, so I don't know. I agree with Leigh. It's definitely a combination of both. But
I would say too, there is no process or book you can read or tip you can get that will spare you the agony of writing a book.
yeah,
Like
no outline is gonna
yeah.
fix it for you.
Yeah, 'cause outliners are going to think, oh, the Pantsers, they have it easy. They can just do whatever. And
Yeah,
the
they just
Pantsers,
wait
like
for
you
the
were saying,
muse.
Yeah. The Pantsers, like, well, they got this outline they can use. Yeah.
I'll continue the pattern. So I guess a pantser would be the term. Yeah, and I don't know. Do you think it's like genre suited? Would you say that like the nature of your genre is that you need
No.
that outline?
Some of my favorite fantasy authors are pantsers.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about
Pantsers
it.
just fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Not to take your pants off and throw them around. Which you can do, but it will not help you read the
With like
book.
a heist book, I just feel like you need to know where everybody is
The
all the
pieces and the cards
Yeah,
together.
and I don't necessarily have to know where everybody is all the
No,
time.
I use my technique is write the interesting parts first. And usually the interesting parts are the ones I think of first, and oftentimes they don't come in order, and so sometimes I have to find a home for them within the story, and sometimes a lot of it is writing what I think are the interesting parts and then kind of piecing them together and then stitching them with all of the, not the uninteresting parts, but then all of the stuff that kind of, makes the story flow as one. But with my second book, I realized I wrote the book and I realized it wasn't like moored in time, like it wasn't attached to a timeline. I had no idea like what time of year it was. So I had to like print out calendar pages and like write down events on certain dates so that it actually took place in like a realistic span of time.
And you do that. You keep time though. You're like, and then this is Friday again, and then
Well,
this
yeah,
is like, and you went back and made that in later.
Yes. So the First and Then has a lot of football games. So those were kind of tent poles when I was trying to figure out where that existed in time. It's stuff like I love a drama at a homecoming dance. Like I love that stuff. So both books have that, and so I had to be like it has to be in a reasonable October or November. So that stuff kind of helps, but that's all later for me.
Nice. Now, the characters in your book, who would you say you relate to the most? Who's your, what's the word, Annie Sue, is that the word? Kind of the character that is you on the page?
I think it's in no way like autobiographical in any way. I didn't have a football team even in my high school, so to that. But I would say I started writing this when I was applying for colleges, much like the main character Devin. And one of the aspects of Devin's journey, is that she kind of feels not particularly special or qualified to be, not necessarily to be in college, but she kind of looks around and sees all her other friends have these awesome talents or traits or skills, and they're very awesome college applicants, whereas she doesn't feel particularly special. And so I related to that in part, and trying to sum yourself up in one application, and how much of a struggle that can be. So that she would probably be my main person that I identify with in that respect, or that I did when I was writing it. I got into college.
That's good advice at college.
I don't know if I mean, once you're a bunch of books in, like, and you have like another series, you're not really writing yourself anymore, but you do, like, or at least I do. I find I put traits of mine that I need to work out in some of my characters. So Lily and Lillian have, they have my stubbornness, they have, like, I'm convinced I'm right, and I'm trying to work on these things, and so I try to put my failings into my books so that I can understand them better and see them from the outside for a little bit.
Like how you like hanging scientists.
That's like a hobby.
I'm not giving that up.
Yeah, no.
I'm
pro.
I have many things in common with each one of the main characters of my books, though I think they're each a different side of me, and then they develop in a different way from how I do. In Tonight the Streets Are Ours, as I said, the idea of reckless loyalty was something that I always related to. And then also her, like fascination with this blogger and setting out to find him in real life is something that my friends and I did when we were in high school, of like tracking down some people who wrote on the internet.
Dangerous.
See, that's how you know you're a mom now. That was what we did. That was like what we amused ourselves.
Frighteningly dangerous.
Total
stranger. Hi.
Yeah.
Did you talk to them? Did you meet them?
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh my god, guys, this is such a long story. There's no way we're getting into this at this point.
This is gonna be our discussion on the car ride, is all I'm telling you.
Actually, I've done this, my friends and I have done this a few times, of just like when we're fans of somebody who writes online, just like finding them.
Oh my gosh!
Like, how do you find them?
You gotta go.
Oh my god!
This will be the after hours talk. Like, this will be our podcast after this event.
Yes!
Listen in and sort of like HBO's after hours.
Twitter after
I
hours.
think really one of the things, as Josie was saying about working through your own issues, and one of the things that I wanted to work through here is the experience of when you look at the internet and it seems like everybody else is having this really great life and you're not. You look at their Instagram feed or their Facebook feed and everybody's life seems perfect. And so that's something, that's something that she feels that I really got.
I'm just realizing how guilty I am of trying to project that too, because like I took
New
a
York
picture
Times
today of like,
bestseller.
I took a picture today of like the beautiful view of the sea, but like the other night we were in like a not particularly photogenic Hilton, like in this random, and I remember, and like I opened up my phone, it was on the camera, and it was like the emerald green polyester curtains and the like crappy corporate carpet, and I was like, should put this up and be like tour, but I did that.
Reality.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a little bit of me in all my characters, even the very bad ones. And I guess in Six of Crows, probably Nina is the one that I like and sympathize with the most, because she's spent her whole life being told that she's too much. She's too big, she's too loud, she laughs too much, she eats too much, she's too sensitive, she's too much. And I think that's me. And it took me a long time to stop caring that people thought I was too much and just be like, too bad, you can leave.
You're just right.
I'm just right. Yeah, and she's, she loves wine, she loves cake, she likes cute boys,
I think we're going to turn it over to the audience for questions. Before we do that, real quick, and I know it's kind of unfair to ask you to sum this up, but if you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you first started writing or had the idea, I want to be published, what's a little bit of advice you would give yourself?
Finish the draft. Just finish it, yo. Finish it, dumb 12-year-old Leigh!
Be patient, like you're gonna be a writer forever, so the first book you write doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to sell, you don't have to be a precocious 11-year-old, like you'll be just as happy if you sell your first book when you're 25 or 35 or 55.
I'm totally blanking. What would I?
I don't know, the reason why I'm totally liking is because I'm trying to think about anything that could have led me differently. And I think about this a lot because I do the parallel universe thing. Any step that I had taken differently, I wouldn't be here right now, and this is exactly where I want to be. So,
It's very Back to the Future.
no, but it's
Yeah, like you'll go to the enchantment under the sea dance and you'll never get
yeah,
the
I
best out
can't,
of it.
and then I'll be erased from the
Yeah.
future.
Fade,
I don't want to fade out of the
And then the Cubs
picture.
would win the World Series in 2015, like in Back to the Future
That
too.
is not likely.
Yeah. We don't want that.
So yeah, no, I guess for me it would just be like, you're doing okay. Don't be too upset.
I guess, as Lila said, as another 11-year-old, canvassing the streets, trying to get a workout there, I would preach patience as well. That would be my chestnut to my younger self. But it's gonna happen. Just keep at it, and it doesn't have to happen in 6th grade. Like that's not a requirement.
Pound of pain.
I know, I'm imagining her being like, Tuppence for a story.
Do you want to? We can pass around the mic to the audience, or do we?
We can,
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can we hear everybody? Okay.
Are we getting a Nikolai story, Leigh? Please, please.
There is a good chance I will write a Nikolai book someday. I know what I want the story to be. I know what I want the title to be. But I need to take a break from the Grishaverse. After the sequel to Six of Crows, I'm going to do a couple of other things and sort of let that refresh.
Okay,
But yeah,
awesome.
we'll see.
patience.
Patience.
As per Gina.
I just wanted to ask Emma specifically. I know I just finished your book. It was great. It was set in Florida, so have you lived in Florida?
It's Floridians here, and
You mentioned Gainesville. It's like a town away from me. Come on.
So I vacationed in Florida every year growing up. I was very fortunate, and so I'm from St. Louis originally, St. Louis, and so I would go with my family. We would do this long drive down through Tennessee and through Alabama and through Florida to our vacation destination. And I always I felt like football meant more here than it did where I was from, and so that was part of the reason. But I made up a fake town because I was afraid I wouldn't do real Florida justice, and so I made a fictional town vaguely near
Florida.
real Gainesville. So, yeah, that would be why. I haven't never lived here personally, but I spent a lot of time in the summers growing up when I was here. Yeah.
If you could live in any fictitious world besides your own, what would it be?
In Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to Hogwarts.
All the worlds I like are way too dangerous. Like
I don't actually want to live
So
in
wonderful.
Westeros.
Yeah, no, Harry Potter, but like post end of book 7.
Yeah, now Hogwarts. They must be all right now.
Yeah, like
Yeah. That's
Yeah, but I'd be one of
I'd
like
want to live.
the stodgy old teachers. I wouldn't be one of the kids. But Hogwarts would still be fun.
you don't have to work at the school. You can
But now, have you seen Neville now? Like,
Yeah.
right now. I would go as me now.
Fantasy, reality.
For sure. Because it's
the sheer number of questions that get asked of me where I'm like, the only correct answer is Harry Potter. That being one being like, if you're on a desert island and you only get one book, I'm like, 7 Harry Potter books in one volume. That's my one book. If you could have written anything else, still Harry Potter. There's only one answer.
How about you? Where would you like to live?
Oh,
Fantasy world.
but anything that she writes would be
Yeah.
just like right there.
It's so dangerous though.
Be a scrapper.
Extra special powers.
But Nikolai would be there.
Any other questions before we all turn into pumpkins? That's 7.
Ask us. We're full of wisdom. Just squeeze us.
So, have you guys read The Lord of the Flies? So I'm reading it now, and I just want like some input on it.
School project?
best-selling author Leigh Bardugo
Says, I read it in high school and I don't remember. Something about Piggy's glasses. I mean, I remember really liking it and being totally terrified by it.
conch.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, thoughts about Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, I more just have emotions about it.
I would say follow it up with Beauty Queens by Liva Bray, which is basically if a bunch of girls had been, it's a bunch of beauty pageant contestants get landed on an island, and it's very funny and very dark and very strange. So I would say read that and then write that book report. See what happens.
And also, if you really don't want to read Lord of the Flies, there is an episode of The Simpsons.
Exactly the same.
English teacher over there.
That and
Wow.
Hamlet. You don't have to read either of those. Anybody else?
Since you told us who, I know all of you like Harry Potter, since you told us who all your characters, what house they would be in, what houses would you be in? I know you're going to say Slytherin, but...
It's not going to be. I am a Slytherin.
Yes.
I'm in Ravenclaw.
I think, unfortunately, I would be in Hufflepuff. Here's the thing, I grew up on a farm, so they'd be like, get in the greenhouse, and I can't grow anything, but I'd be like, alright, I guess this is what I have to do. And everything would die, but I would get stuck in that, because I would be Hufflepuff trapped.
Yes.
Just from my background.
Yeah.
But I don't think I fit there.
I'm a Hufflepuff, and I'm proud I'm an excellent finder.
Proud you're proud.
Proud.
Since we asked about Harry Potter, what faction would you be in?
Oh my God. Break it down.
So, in case anybody forgets their options, abnegation, amity, candor, dauntless, erudite.
Alright, well I'm not an amity because that's hippies.
I'm a dauntless. I'm dauntless.
Don't let the tie-dye fool you.
I'm definitely not abnegation is something I can say really.
I'm dauntless.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Not application. I don't think
I'm not tough enough for dauntless.
I am. You're divergent. Everybody is divergent. Come on, you're divergent.
I'm sloth. I'm indolence is my faction. And I just are
You're
there's
smart.
no test,
She's
and then we
smart.
just lie around and nap
That's the
and
case.
snack a lot.
I would be one of the whole people wandering
She's smart,
around.
so she'd be.
Yeah,
She's smart, so.
We had like a couple of homeless people, that would be me. I'd be warming my hands by a campfire.
I'd be erudite, I'd be Ravenclaw, I'd be whatever world I'm in, I'm like sitting alone in a library.
I want to join indolence.
Join us! Or don't. Do whatever you want to do.
Alright, do we have any more from the audience?
I was wondering about like the publishing process. Did you kind of just send them send your manuscript everywhere, or did you have like specific publishers in mind that you just sent them to?
So there are a lot of different ways to get published now. There are publishing houses that accept unsolicited manuscripts, but a lot of them don't, because there's just too many manuscripts. In which case you need an agent who then knows editors at these houses that they will then take your manuscript to. And then of course there's also self-publishing and digital publishing and all of that. I researched agents. I had written a high fantasy book at a time where nobody wanted high fantasy. Like, I didn't know that, because I didn't know anything about publishing, but I quickly found out that you can go places, and there's Query Tracker and all kinds of places where you can see what agents are looking for. You can go to their websites, their blogs. I mean, it's one of the advantages of having everybody online now. But my agent happened to have written a post geeking out about Lord of the Rings and was willing to read high fantasy, so I was like, she's either gonna love me or hate me. And then you query those agents, and you write these very specific pitch letters, and sometimes they want a few pages of your manuscript, sometimes they just want the pitch, sometimes they want the whole manuscript. It's almost like a test where you have to sort of figure out what's being asked for. Then if, hopefully they will request a full manuscript from you, and then if they like the full, they'll offer you representation, and then they go out to the editors, and then you go on, and then you go through the next hoop, which is going on submission, where you're hoping editors will be interested in the book. Maybe you can talk about, though, like, if you go straight to the house, what that's like.
I really don't recommend going straight to a publishing company. I mean, if you're looking at a very small publishing company, that might be an option, but if you're looking at any of the major ones, certainly the one that publishes all of us, the one that I work at, you need an agent at this point in order to go through there. But fortunately, there are a lot of agents. There are a lot more agents than there are publishing houses, and they have very diverse tastes. So it's just a great way to do it of, again, you can look online, as Leigh was saying, or thinking about books that you like that you think are sort of similar to yours, looking in the acknowledgments to find out who represented them. And that gives you a great start, because everybody likes a compliment, just saying I love the work you did with 6 of Crows. I can tell from that you like whatever fantasy. I'm trying to
Angry
think.
people.
Right. Like, maybe you'll like my book. And you really want an agent. I mean, I think all of us here would say.
I'm very pro-agent.
Like,
Because even after you sell your book, first of all, an agent can get you into a situation where you might potentially go to auction, or preempt. And even after a book contract is like this effing thick. Like it is crazy. Like it's a legal document, which is you have to then parse. And also, if you choose the right agent, that person becomes your champion. Like they're the person who's gonna negotiate, and they're gonna keep championing your book after you sell your book. That's only the first step. And you need somebody who's going to keep saying, well, we don't think this is the right cover, or we would really love it if she went on tour, or we would really, and you don't want that to be you. You want to be able to have a relationship with your editor where you're just being creative and where the business doesn't get in the way. So it's important to choose the right person, it's like a marriage.
it is like.
But in my case, lasts longer. So.
My mom gets very teary when she talks about my agent. She says he's the most important man in my life.
And Leigh, I think that
Leigh.
website you meant, Leigh,
Like
sorry.
Bruce.
Sorry, Leigh. They mentioned the website, Agent Query, was that correct?
There's,
Query
it's been a
Tracker.
Query Tracker, Query Shark was another one, Agent Track, like there's a bunch of them. Like there's so many resources. And also Literary Rambles was, if you're interested in YA or children's, was a huge resource for me, and I assume they still are. They put up a lot of interviews with agents and that kind of thing for what they're looking for. The most important thing is to be, specific, and to, nobody likes to get a letter that says, "Dear Sir or Madam," or, "Dear Mr. Bardugo," it's like you need to be personal in your approach, and that means, you do a few a day. You do a few queries a day, you don't shotgun it, and then you see what kind of response you're getting. If you don't get the response you want right away, you maybe tweak your pitch and refine that letter again and then go out again,
Yeah. And like you said, write what you love, because that might get you in the door.
There's really no other choice. I mean, you're going to live with this book for how, months, potentially years. You're going to revise it. You better love that thing. You better love it. You can't be like, this will make me millions. Like, that does not work.
All right, any further questions? 'Cause I think there will be cake afterward, but we can
What?
still ask questions.